Hey, what's happening, everybody? It is Dirty coming at you here. DZAN is not here right now. I had to do a video. I don't have time to do this video, but I'm still going to do this video because I have to do this video. If I am a general manager of a hockey team, an NHL team, excuse me, and I see the name Steve Yzerman calling me. Now, if I'm not a general manager, I'm freaking out and probably shaking, knees and all. But if I am a general manager, I'm really shaking and I'm swiping left. Don't answer the phone. Don't do it. It's your job. Stop taking his calls if you are not a Detroit Red Wing. I don't know how this Stevie, Obi-Wan Kenobi, fucking Yzerman. Those Jedi mind tricks all over the place. I don't know how he does what he does. It is absolutely mind-boggling. So, Jonathan Bernier, not even signed with Detroit. They merely owned the rights to sign him, but he was never going to sign in Detroit again. He is in the upper tier of his career right now. He wants to win. I don't blame him. I would not sign with Detroit right now. I'm a huge Red Wings fan. But if I were him, that would have been the dumbest thing he could have done. He has a chance to go to a contender and probably unseat most goalies from their positions. He had a tremendous year. He was the one bright spot for Detroit last year. Actually, the past couple of years, quite frankly. And somehow, Steve Yzerman was able to trade him and a draft pick for a guy that was in the Calder Cup contention. He was third in voting. He was in Rookie of the Year contention. I don't know where he finished in voting, but it was high. I know that. And unfortunately, he was going up against Kaprizov and a couple other studs. But non-goalies, I mean, goalies almost never win Rookie of the Year anyway. So the fact that he was even in that conversation speaks volumes. Now, let me back up here a little bit. I'm actually a very big supporter of, and listen, I know the guy is not a great goalie anymore, or maybe ever was really, but I just happen to be a fan of Peter Mrazek, okay? I saw Peter Mrazek play in Toledo when he was in Toledo for 2 games. He played a game for the Toledo Walleye, which is the ECHL team for Detroit. So basically AA hockey, if you will. And he blew my mind when I saw him out there. Now, it's very rare to have a team like Toledo have a player that's going to do well in the NHL. It doesn't work that way. Generally speaking, if they're really young, they're going to be in juniors. And if they're ready to advance to the NHL, they go to Grand Rapids, at least in the case of the Red Wings. If not Red Wings, then they go to an AHL team normally. But so I got to see Peter Mrazek, and I became a very big fan of his. And when he was in Detroit, he got the shaft, quite frankly, and I blame Ken Holland for a lot of that. There were a lot of untruths, a lot of misinformation that was happening there, and he ended up, long story short, in Carolina. And that's the reason I'm bringing this up, because I became a bit of a Carolina fan because of Peter Mrazek. And it was easier because Detroit was in a very down time, and we still kind of are. But I had to have somebody to root for come playoff time, and so that's who I have been following over the past few seasons. Well, listen, he was playing extremely well. Peter was extremely well last year. This past season, he played very, very well until the last parts of the season. But keep in mind, he has been dealing with a nagging injury for the past, well, almost the entire season. He got hurt in a game, and he was never really quite the same when he came back. So I truly believe a lot of this was injury related. So in steps Alex Nedeljkovic. So keep in mind, the reason I shared all of that information with you about Peter Mrazek and playing against Toledo is because I want you to understand my fandom for him, and it explains why I watched every single Carolina Hurricanes game over the past 3.5 seasons that he was with them. 4 seasons, yeah. Alex Nedeljkovic unseated Peter Mrazek from his position. Took his job. First real season that he played hockey in the NHL. I think he played 1 or 2 games the year before. So he has this monster season. Carolina didn't do real well, quite frankly, in the playoffs. Had nothing to do with Alex Nedeljkovic. Had nothing to do with Peter Mrazek, quite frankly, because Peter Mrazek, if you remember, in Game 3, they played in Tampa. They needed a win badly because Nedeljkovic lost the first 2 games. Well, I shouldn't say he lost, but they lost the first 2 games with Nedeljkovic. So then they send Peter Mrazek in for Game 3. They end up getting the win. Mrazek looked fantastic. But Alex Nedeljkovic was the story for the Carolina Hurricanes last season. Him and Dougie Hamilton. And Don Waddell moves him to Detroit for essentially nothing. You're getting Jonathan Bernier, tremendous goalie. But quite frankly, I think you could have got him anyway. I don't think there were a lot of teams. I mean, you didn't hear any rumors about anybody going after Bernier. So I don't understand. It's mind-boggling. In steps Stevie Yzerman, Obi-Wan, and gets the job done. Gets Nedeljkovic, a stud at goalie. They have him for at least 2 seasons. And I don't know how Stevie does what he does. The Jacob Vrana and was it first or second round pick for Anthony Mantha? Listen, if you are a Washington Capitals team, don't get excited over this guy. He's lazy. He's extremely lazy. He's very overrated, and it's because of his size. He's overrated in the way that Johnny Gaudreau was overrated when he was slaying it, admittedly. But I saw something in Johnny Gaudreau's game that I didn't like, and it was laziness. He parks himself on the side of the circle, right by the boards, waits for the puck. That's all he did the whole season. Don't believe me, go back and watch it. That's all he did. He sat on the boards waiting for the puck. skated it in, and that's how he got his numbers. I don't know how he got away with that, quite frankly, but it caught up to him. Same as Anthony Mantha, but Anthony Mantha's never really had a year like Johnny Gaudreau had. I was shocked at that move too. Stevie Yzerman gets things done. Tampa Bay fans, listen, I'm from Detroit area. We moved down here about 3 years ago. And I'm in Florida, by the way, but I'm on the other side of state from Tampa. But nevertheless, the bank that my wife works for has a lot of connections in the Tampa area, and she knows a lot of people over there, and we get a lot of information from the Tampa side of life over there. And when Steve Yzerman left, all we heard down here was, well, it wasn't really his team anyway. We weren't really impressed with the moves he made. And he would have never have brought in Patrick Maroon. He would have never have brought in Blake Coleman. Come on, man. Really? Blake Coleman and Patrick Maroon. Listen, I know the role players and they're gritty grinders. They're buttes. I get it, man. But they didn't win you a Stanley Cup. Andrei Vasilevsky won you the Stanley Cup. Braden Point won you the Stanley Cup. Victor Hedman won you the Stanley Cup. Okay? Let's not get this twisted. Who's the common theme here? Steve Yzerman. Those are his boys. He drafted them. Okay? Maybe not Hedman, but he drafted Point. He drafted Kucherov. He drafted Vasilevsky. The list goes on and on and on. I mean, I think the only players he didn't was Stamkos, possibly Hedman. Yeah, I think that's about it. So, I don't know, man. I get it. Stevie left to go home. They're salty, so they got to throw arrows. But after a second Stanley Cup win, they still don't want to give Stevie any credit. That's a mistake. That's a big mistake. Because the same thing happened in Detroit. Ken Holland received a tremendous amount of credit that he did not deserve. It's slightly different, but you'll see what I mean by this. Let me get a drink here, because I'm going in. Ken Holland. He was the general manager for 4 Stanley Cups. No, 2 Stanley Cups. 2 Stanley Cups. What am I thinking? Scotty Bowman is the reason Detroit Red Wings won those 4 Stanley Cups. Okay? Scotty Bowman. Ken Holland had nothing to do with any of that. And you look at any of the stories of players brought in and all that stuff. Ken Holland wasn't part of that equation. He had nothing to do with that equation. Everything went through Scotty. Everything went through Scotty, not Ken Holland. And anybody that's going to be honest with you in that organization will tell you the same. I mean, they don't even have to tell you. The evidence is all there. You hear the stories. Oh, they brought in Brendan Shanahan. Oh, that was because of Stevie. Excuse me. That was because of Scotty. They brought in countless people. The one common thread was it was because of Scotty. Scotty Bowman was the reason for these cups. Had nothing to do with Ken Holland. And here is the final nail in the coffin for that. Scotty leaves. There was a very common theme amongst players in Detroit. To get a no-compete clause, all you had to do was knock on Ken Holland's door. That's all it took. And those are real words coming out of real players' mouths and real media's mouths about Ken Holland. All you had to do was knock on his door and you get a no-compete clause. No-compete clauses are the worst thing that can happen to a team. It makes it next to impossible to move a player. It's great for the player. It's terrible for the organization. And he was handing them out like they were food vouchers at an airport. They're meaningless to the team. So the be-all and end-all to that is the fact that Scotty Bowman was the reason. Ken Holland had nothing to do with that. And now, people in Edmonton are already about here with Ken Holland. There you go. So, again, if I am a general manager of a NHL team and I see Steve Yzerman's name come across my phone, swipe left. The guy is pulling off moves. And what's amazing is that he's still doing it. He's still able to do it. People are still not swiping left. So, as a Red Wings fan, I'm ecstatic. Had to get that off my chest. I love Steve Yzerman.